So hello again, we've just seen the basic function of Pascal, and you might ask, well, how do I do a little bit more complex things like copying or finding more complex structures? Here it is. I started with the workflow, but you've seen I ended up using directly the functionality of the libraries at the end. Behind the workflow you find another tab hidden, which is the project directory, and here we've just created the basic first safety function, the door. I use this function and I copy and paste it, and you see I just created a copy both in the tabs and in the project view. I change the properties and make this door an e-stop. Can I like to remind you, say what the function does. If e-stop is pressed, then shut down drives. You might find nicer words for it, but for the moment that might do it. So I've got a new safety function, the e-stop. The calculation is done, but you see the sensor is still the same. What is normally the difference? I use the same logic, I use the same contactors, so all I do, I remove the sensor and I replace it with another sensor. I replace it with the e-stop. Let's have a look whether I find one. Yeah, there is one. I just take it again, drag it over and enter it. You see I've got a selection how to use it with or without plausibility check, single or dual channel. Use it first place with a dual channel setup, and I'm asked which version of it is, because they might have changed safety parameters over the time. So here I come up with the similar screen we've seen from the safety relays, the usability frequency. So here I have to enter how often the e-stop is activated. Once per hour certainly too much, let's say once per day. That's the time for the e-stop, and I say the safety logic does a detection of short cross of the contacts, and it does a feasibility check by monitoring the two channels and making sure that if one switches, we've got covered that the other may be faulty. So I replaced it and my second safety function is done. I hear you asking, but I do not have just one e-stop. What do I do if I have multiple e-stops? So simple answer, I just copy it. Oops, no, not cutting. I just copy it and paste it, and here is the second e-stop. Oh, let's show one thing besides. I just put it at the end. I might have a warning right now that the sensors might be positioned left to the output. So I've got right here an actuator in the logical queue of a sensor which is not really sensible. This is only a warning to indicate whether you may have selected a wrong operating mode of a device. Like this, the warning is gone. What you see right here is that the e-stop comes up at the end with two showing PLs, one for the first and one for the second e-stop. If you add more than 2 or 3 of these e-stops, you will find yourself dropping down to performance level D, simply because each is calculated as an individual subsystem. What can we do? I can add a subsystem and say it's a dual channel subsystem and drag the sensor in here and say it's a single channel with diagnostics. So select the highest number again. Again the same once per day, and detection of short cross and diagnostics, feasibility check, finish it. So right here I've got the single channel of an e-stop. I do copy it and paste it in the second channel. So this one has the same safety parameter as this one. You might see it down here. The sensor 2.2.1.1, that's that pair, and those two have the same safety parameters. But if I right now copy and insert and paste another one right here and another one right here, I've got two sensors in one subsystem. And the tricky thing, this has something to do how the 13849 calculates it. The two together have the same safety result as the single sensor right here. And you will find that this is true in many cases, even if you add 5, 6, 7, 10 sensors in one queue. So if you have to add more, this might be the more appropriate way to show it, even so both calculations are equally correct. What I do right now, I just delete the unused e-stops, and here is my safety function. In the same way, I can model even safety functions with a different number of elements in the two channels, allowing for most complex variations. So you've seen a number of options, and I want to mention one limitation, which is not due to Pascal but due to the standard. You find here an a relay which has a performance, which has a B10D value. You see it down here. It's listed as an MTTF value, which derives from a B10D. Because I have to enter the number of activations. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you see me again. Bye bye.